Hello, everybody, and welcome to Solidity Fridays, where we sit around and look at people's solidity at it. Um, you might have thought that we were about to dive back into the Rari vaults with transmissions and actually also Jet from Rari, but it looks like we're actually facing a bit of a time zone coordination fail. So we found out a few minutes ago that that might not be happening right now. There's a little bit of confusion as to what day this would be happening on. So if you're here for T11 and Jet, then I regret to inform you that it doesn't look like they're going to be coming on right now. We only kind of figured this out a few minutes ago, so we're kind of figuring out on the fly what we're going to do with this time. But don't worry, there's enough solidity out there. We're going to find something. We're going to look through it, and you'll get to see us even dive into something a bit more or less. How do you say that? There's a way to say that in English. Prepared than usual. And yeah, there you have it.
Yeah, and then just to clarify, we are still very keen to chat to Transmissions and Jet. We're just going to look to reschedule that one. So that should still be coming up. Not today, but sometime soon. And with that in mind, any ideas, stuff we can poke around, Will?
Oh, I know what I saw that's kind of on the crazy side, but it's like seriously on the crazy side. Did you see the chess NFT thing?
The chess NFT, no? What?
There's a dude who put like an entire chess engine. It's not a full 8x8 chessboard, it's a 6x6, but like a 6x6 chessboard with an engine to play against.
Wow.
And each game is an NFT that you that you
That is
update
wild.
with each move. It's kind of insane code. It's kind of in the same ray tracer vein, if you know what I mean. I know there's also been a lot of DeFi stuff going on though. Like I think UMA Protocol put out something new. Redacted launched.
Redacted. Yeah, maybe we should. I don't know if their code is open, but
The radio operators all on the chess contract. Yeah. I have it open in a different tab even. I mean, I'm one of those guys who has like 200 at any given time. So like the fact that I've got something open in a tab. That I probably
some other big news is Optimism is now open with no whitelist.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's something we can poke around with.
Yeah, I don't know how much it's like. I mean, we could hop into just like analyzing that or something like that. I'd feel weird jumping into that like super prepared. Let me see though. Redacted probably has like the worst name whatsoever to search for.
Yeah.
Redacted 326 redacted users on GitHub.
Lyra. I'm seeing a bit about Lyra. I don't know what this is.
Oh, I've seen Lyra mentioned a few times. Yeah, I don't know anything about it. Rye thinks that Redacted is an open source. That would be super sus. Etherscan. Oh, did you get that new VS Code plugin from Death?
No. Is that the one you were posting in the Discord?
Yeah, that's what I put in the Discord. Basically, what it means is that if you can like basically just yank down contract repos and look at them through Visual Studio Code. What's really nice about that is if you're dealing with like flattened contracts and Etherscan or whatnot, it's not as pleasant, at least for me, as like leafing through a GitHub repo or something like that. Redacted is an ohm fork, but just answering the radio operator. Redacted is an ohm fork, but I was under the impression that there might be a couple other things going on with it. Like it would be interesting to see kind of where the divergence from ohm is, if there's more you can kind of figure out about how they want to participate in the curve wars from it. But yeah, so you're right that at its root it's ohm. Yeah.
My understanding of Redacted is that it's an ohm fork, but what they want to do. Oh, so he's replied. They changed the way they do their RFV. What's RFV? But my understanding is that they want to basically gather their sort of protocol-owned liquidity the same way Ohm does, and then use it to buy up convex or curve tokens, and then use that as the same way convex or yearn use them to sort of optimize their yield and create
Right,
bonds.
which makes me wonder if there's a second layer on top of it, though, as in kind of like Andre. I mean, to me, it sort of sounds like taking Ohm and strapping on Andre Cronje's bribe protocol.
Yeah,
So, like, I
risk-free
was
value.
wondering if they would do something like that. Uh,
Another idea, which I don't know if it's super appropriate for this stream, but we could, on a different stream, maybe like do the live coding of like my best finance thing that I'm like side project that I'm working on.
if you have the guts to jump into that, like, all here in public and everything, you know what I mean?
Fuck it, we do it live. Um, I mean,
On-chain
I'm down
NFT
if you want to do
renderers.
it. Oh yeah, well,
I didn't really dive into art blocks. Loot I've been through. Corruptions was one of the things I was thinking of saying, actually. Have you been following like the whole thing with
corruptions.
corruptions?
No, what's that?
So Dom, who did Loot, has put out, I think he refers to it as performance art. This new series. There's a really incredible Twitter thread about it. I think from Tim Shell, who's like kind of like the Loot lore dude. Let me see if I can find it real fast. But basically, you've got these on-chain generated. I'm assuming SVG, just because I don't know what else could be off the top of my head. And they're what's it called? They react to different things. There seems to be some kind of messaging protocol built into it somehow. There seems to be some lore embedded in it. It is going to be probably too hard for me to find this while I'm talking. But if anybody knows where the Tim Shell corruptions reflections thread is, where he just kind of explains what's going on with it.
Here we go.
Uh,
The radio operator linked us something. Web3pad.xyz.
I've actually never heard of this. That's wild. Thanks, man.
Thanks, dude. I
Uh,
just see. I googled the on-chain, what is it? The on-chain like SVG generators or whatever, and there's a tweet from 2018, a very topical one from Joseph DeLong.
oh yeah.
People at DevCon 4 kept talking about World War III. I wonder if they know something I don't. I just thought that was funny. Oh wow, yeah, this is interesting.
Oh wait, I think I did find it. No.
Yeah, so what's this Web3 pad? Breakdowns and templates of popular smart contracts. Nice.
Oh wow.
Sounds super useful. Oh, there's corruptions. Okay. Template breakdown. Dude, this is such a sick resource.
That is really cool. Yeah, I have to take a look at
We should do these just ad hoc streams more.
it. We don't even know what to talk about today, but we're talking about it. That's a great idea, actually. Yeah. Get other contract breakdown wars on the. I went too far. That's it.
Okay, so here's this. Have you got the tweet thread?
I think.
How about this one?
Oh,
Hold
maybe
on.
that's what I was looking for, and it wasn't Tim Shell.
I mean, this looks great.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it is this. Okay, can you here? I'll drop it into chat. So, pretty sure it is this. All right. So, I guess the question is, corruptions are kind of complex, and also, I mean, do those have a GitHub? Let me just take a quick look.
It's probably going to be in the thread. You just go through the thread. Everyone's into the enemies and friends with benefits thing, hey?
Right now, radio operator says there's no. Man, what's with this? No contract GitHubs, man. Like, what is this? They're probably like hanging out on GitLab or something. Actually, you know what? Checking GitLab. You're there like doing like hardcore self-hosted Git or something, you know? First I'm going to do redacted, except that I can't spell.
Well, here's the Etherscan.
You got the Etherscan?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Wait, hang on. Let me just. Yeah. There we go. Sweet. Should I drop it in the? I'll do the Twitch. Put it in our Discord so we got stuff. All right. I'm feeling good about.
So if I remember right, also there's corruptions, and then there's also like reflections. I think he's put out a few of these. Truth is, I think I might even just, if you don't mind, give myself like a minute to reacquaint myself with what's going on with them from that thread. Corruptions gain insight over time. The value will increase over time, but will decrease when the NFT is moved from one value from one wallet to another. The way this works, 2 attributes that each NFT has. They'll be modified by save, another saved XP. It records the accumulated insight and block number. Calculate insight we call insight. Calculate insight, it's the delta. Since the NFT will be smaller than the current block number, difference between the two will increase. It increases the delta and hence the multiplier. So the block is updated with the current save value. Delta will be at 0. So you need, So he's hacking for token transfer. Interesting.
So, I have zero context here. Why is it even called corruptions? What is the idea here? And what are insights?
So nobody is entirely sure. There is another thread. I'm remembering this now. If anybody does actually find the thread where it goes kind of through the lore of corruptions, like do me a favor and throw it into the chat. But one of the things with corruptions is that there's not a lot of context. Some of the backstory is that Dom basically, just because this is crypto and this is the way that things work, he deployed a new contract. Not Dom, Dioff, sorry. He deployed a new contract, and within 45 minutes, I think the whole thing was sold out, because you've got people who have push notifications that are alerting them anytime he's doing anything off of that wallet. He seems to know that also. Like, it does seem like that was somewhat intentional. Like, I know Jackson Dame was one of the early ones. They may have even been the one who, like, announced it on Twitter that it happened. And there are kind of these patterns in the SVGs. Like, if you take a look at the top of the... Oh, wait, it's a blurry image. Maybe it's only blurry for me. I'm not even sure. Oh, wait, D-Huff is Dom. All right, I was just getting confused there. So you'll see that there are words that are kind of repeated in it, or you might even be able to see that a bit in this. Oh, yeah, you can see that in the sample corruption on Etherscan. So first of all, you've got all of these 8s. Then you've got these kind of mutations of the word corruption. And then, I thought in the bottom right-hand corner, okay, unlike the art on the contract, I'm pretty sure that in the bottom right-hand corner, you've got the insight score. So you've got some number there that actually changes over time. Well, kind of over time. We're going to see, I think, how the contract mutates it.
I'm just going through the thread here, and it says, so corruptions gain insight over time, and the insight accelerates if corruption stabilizes. So if you don't transfer it, and it decelerates, so I guess increases, but at a slower rate if it's moved.
Yeah.
I still don't know what an insight is. Is it just an arbitrary, like, numerical score?
I think so, but I think it also has some kind of bearing on the actual SVG.
Okay. So like a visual sort of effect of, like, clarity or something, maybe.
It might be.
Oh yeah, we say what insight is. Insight is a value that all corruption entities have. The value will increase over time, but will decrease. Okay, so it actually decreases when entity is moved. So when they transfer it. So you can affect the insight by minting, transfer, and burning. All right, which I guess essentially is all transfer events. So there are there are two attributes that each NFT has, and they can be modified with a save function. So saved XP and last save block. Okay. And so you call it to sort of like accumulate insight. So it sort of saves, very much like a game. It'll save your like state and say, okay, at this block, let's just sort of keep track of. We've saved some XP, and this is the last block. Last save block. Interesting.
All right. I'm still trying to figure out where like that whole history was between them. So should we dive in?
Sure. Into the code.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still a little fuzzy on. It's actually not that. Oh wait. Yeah. No, it's not too bad.
It's not flattened on the bright side. It's broken in.
Yeah. Is there anything down here that we should be concerned? I mean, I just see corruptions metadata.
I see some 21 enumerable. Oh, there's corruptions metadata. Is he doing something funny in the metadata?
Oh, I mean, this is the SVG rendering. Might have some.
Yeah, it is.
Some little stuff, yeah. I don't know if there's anything non-standard here.
Oh, you can see the word list about the different words that happen. I remember whoever it was. I think Tim Shell, who went through that. It's in the cool metadata, like line 153.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's some hex colors, I assume.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of classic generation SVG in the token URI renders that whole thing. Yeah.
I'm just checking if there's anything else in these contracts that we should.
I don't remember if this was in the loot contract or not, but in metadata, he actually directly links to a Stack Overflow answer, which is cute.
I've seen, who was it? It might have even been Transmissions. I don't know if it was him. Someone saw a tweet where they like in their, it was Ethernote maybe, I don't know, someone in their contract, like they deployed it and everything, and they linked to like a tweet. They had like a Twitter link, and that was the documentation for like the function.
Immutability by Twitter.
Yeah.
It's also a 721 receiver.
Interesting. Wait, corruptions. Did you see that?
Oh wait, no, it's just IERC 721 receiver. No, it's probably just a check. It's probably just a check if something else is my mistake. I was thinking for a second that it's the IE, it's the interface, so it's probably just checking. It's for the safe transfers. Base 64.sol. Okay, fine. So yeah, I don't see much else going on, except for maybe the metadata. All right, let's go through this.
All right, you want to start at the top?
Yeah, you might want to make your screen a bit bigger. I just realized that.
Sorry,
I've
yeah.
been, my own tab.
Let me do this. I'll make this big, and then I can. There we go.
This would actually be a great use case for the for that death extension. We should look into that for the future.
Yeah.
All right, so let's
do it. Awesome.
Man, this font looks so bad when you enlarge it. If you forgive my saying so.
Unfined
All
art by
right.
Dom. Beautiful.
Unfine art. Unfine art is taking over the world. Um, all right, so we have an event, and once again, it's very interesting. We have a really popular contract that if the thing I looked again at the Solidity style guide recently. I should just see if I was hallucinating or if in earlier versions of Solidity it was more opinionated than it is now. Because I seem to remember it being like kind of specific, even about the ordering of functions and how all of that happened, and I'm pretty sure it isn't anymore. So I'm wondering if I just had some kind of fever dream and it stuck in my mind, or if like it is actually all there. And I mentioned that because he's starting with an event, and I'm much more used to seeing global variables and then events. But he's also using publics, like address public metadata address, bool public tradable. Um, is that how you
Yeah, I
spell
mean,
tradable? I don't think that's how you spell tradable. Is tradable even a
tradable.
word?
I think it is. Because how? Oh, would you put an E here, maybe?
I thought there would be an either. Yeah, there's neither.
Nice. No, wait, it's not. No, it's fine.
Oh, that's also an accepted spelling?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Well, it's also acceptable spelling with an E in it. Right.
Good job,
I thought
Dom.
I'd broken the contract. Uh, so he's using
Exploit
public,
Dom.
which is interesting. I'm much more used to private and a getter. A public for state vars, even though you have the getter. Isn't the getter more efficient on state
I
vars
think it's.
if you do
I
it with
think it's
private?
gas. Oh, it's size efficient, contract size efficient. I think.
Yeah,
But this doesn't. It's not the largest contract.
but the gas
162
efficiency
lines,
doesn't
yeah.
make a difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I think he just threw it together. I mean, I think that's just fine.
All right. You went
You're not
256
hiding
private
anything
max
either.
multiplier. Well, I mean, yeah, but if you have getters for everything and the source code's open, so you see it all anyway. Yeah, you went 256 private max multiplier. And I guess that means that there's kind of a terminal velocity to how much it can go up. Here's where that saved XP, saved last save block is. And I mean, if we're gonna sit here and in honor of transmissions not being here, talk about gas efficiency, theoretically he could have probably made both of those 128s.
Yeah,
Oh, but he would have to
yeah.
truncate the block then. The block's gonna come in as UN 256, so he'd have to truncate the block. So I
That's
was wondering,
fine though. I think.
yeah, truncation usually doesn't cost you too much.
Um, I was just thinking more in the lines of like you're not going to reach limits on the 128.
Oh yeah, but I wonder if you're looking for gas efficiency. So what I wonder is, and this is something I've been meaning to dig into. You've got a 256 coming in for block. You're right. The beginning is going to be an awe-inspiring amount of zeros for the very, very, very long future. But if you have to truncate that into a 128 each time, just so you can pack it into a struct better with two 128s. I wonder how much you save, because you're gonna have to bring in the library for that, and then you're just gonna have to perform the operation anytime you're looking at that block there.
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah,
point.
no.
I mean, I'm sure if your transmissions, you would do some bit manipulation at the assembly level, and you would do it with
Right, but you
very
still
gas
need to do it though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The other thing I really want to dig into is kind of if I feel like I'm kind of circling the drain around the rabbit hole for opcode optimization and things like that. In the middle of a lot of the let's write the craziest gas optimized ERC20 that we can in Solidity. So Fubu from Yearn and Viper put out a tweet of well, which do you think is more gas optimized? This with this whole Solidity assembly insanity, or Viper import ERC20? And of course, because he was tweeting about it, it was Viper's import ERC20. And it's I think that has to be something about how Solidity is going into YOL into bytecode. And Viper's not going into YOL in the middle, so somehow it looks like they're more efficiently breaking things down into bytecode. But yeah, I think that's kind of the next level, as it were. Yeah, Mapping. So that's going to be token ID to XP, which he calls the insight map. Private balance. Balance? What do we need a global balance for?
Is this you?
Maybe it's sold in an ERC20 token?
Let me see.
Maybe it's tracking the ether. You wouldn't need to track
we'll work
the
it
ether.
out. Well, no, where did they go?
Yeah.
Why can't I do this? Copy this. Code. Wait. What?
What?
Let's just look through it. See if you can spot a balance. Is it not used? There we go.
Wow.
Oh, okay. So it's the how much ETH they've raised, basically, because this is the selling price.
Isn't there this dot balance or something like that for that?
I mean, yeah, you don't have to track it.
I guess it's to make it easier to query.
Yeah, maybe. I wonder if there's gas efficiency around like querying it instead of reading the actual Ethereum balance of the contract.
Huh.
And here, withdraw. Okay, so when they withdraw, they actually using transfer as well, huh? On our side, we mostly use call when we want to send ETH.
Right.
I wonder what his reasoning for using transfer is. So I believe there's some vulnerabilities, some security vulnerabilities around this, and call is a bit safer.
One of the big, I do remember off the top of my head that one of the big problems with transfer is that there's no gas limit on it.
Yeah, I mean it is only owner, and you're just sending it to the owner, so this is relatively safe, I would say.
Yeah. Rari put it in chat that he'd like us to explain the weird syntax on call. The weird syntax on call is really twofold. Even though it's the recommended way to send ether in general, at least from material that I read, the point of call, it's not like something like transfer that exists to send ether. It exists to call a contract and do something. Like, if you'd like a Web3 library analogy, it's kind of like when you're calling a function, the point of calling the function. And if in ethers or something like you need to map on value, then what you do is you go in that object of overrides at the end of the variables, and you put the value there of the ether that's being sent. So over here, it's actually just that object, instead of being the last argument, it goes before the arguments of the call, or what's being called, or what it's being called with. So you just put an address, and you say, I want to call that contract over there. And then the parentheses are the call, like what's going into the call. But then you also have the ability to specify how much value should be sent as a part of the transaction.
Yeah. So essentially, you're calling a blank function on a contract, a function that doesn't exist, and you're just sending ETH with that. And then when it gets there, it's like, oh, well, there's no function to call, but we sent you some ETH anyway, basically. Am I explaining it right? Well, am I understanding it right?
Sorry, I was trying to read up on it in the background while you started talking, so I wasn't paying so much attention. Apologies.
So am I understanding it right in saying that essentially what you're doing here is you have the address of what should be a contract or an EOA, and you're calling a function, but you're saying that really it's a blank function because you're passing in an empty string. And you're saying, okay, call blank function and send along with that call some ETH. And it gets there and it's like, oh, well, there's no function to call, but here's the ETH anyway, basically.
I believe so. And I got things backwards. It's transfer that has the gas limit, and then call actually is unbounded, and you're just supposed to slap a reentrancy guard on it.
Yeah, but that does seem a bit more useful because often there can be some logic or something going on in the payable in the fallback. So just add on.
Right, and that's why they said not to use transfer. Yeah, it's starting to come back now because, like, let's say that you're sending and there's custom logic there and it goes over the 2300 gas allotment. So then essentially you'll be bricked from being able to use that contract. So yeah, over here, yeah, so that means that over here in corruptions also, he's just really gonna have to make sure that he knows where it's getting withdrawn to, and there won't be anything that draws it out as far as that goes.
Which is, he has a bit of control here because it's only owner, so he could transfer ownership to a new multi-sig
Right.
or a new EOA
Right.
if it was
Yeah.
an issue. Yeah.
Yep.
Sweet,
Yep,
and then
yep,
that would clear it out, and he would get. Yeah, so he's sending the entire balance here, which this is a bit. I mean, I guess it's fine because he's keeping track of how much ETH he's raising.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah, it's...
I mean, the way I would probably do it is read the actual balance of the contract.
Yeah, I was thinking that also.
Because I mean,
I even wonder
there's
with
ever
memory
a
and
case.
storage. Yeah, sorry.
There could be a case where this balance somehow gets out of sync with the actual ETH that the contract is stored. I don't know, maybe there's some reentrancy or something you can do here. It has that non-reentrant on it. It's fine. God, I just realized this function name. Oh my god. But if this balance variable ever misaligned with the ETH held in the contract, then calling this wouldn't withdraw all the ETH. It would it might withdraw less or more, and if it was more, if the balance was more than was held in the contract, then this would revert.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would have personally probably just read the balance directly. I'm not sure why he's tracking it. Maybe it's more readable.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah. That is really funny, though. All right, and what are the requirements? Actually, so should we go back up and see like the setters and everything like that?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, regular constructor, except it sets tradable to true, and the max multiplier, and the max multiplier to 24.
Yeah, and this is tradability limit. So here he has, tradable starts as true, and then he can disable it if he needs to, and then turn it back on. And I guess
it's centralized.
Yeah. Well, so that would probably just stop you from sending out your NFTs.
From transferring it. You'll get bricked with it.
Here we go. Only when tradable. They actually slap this modifier only when tradable onto the transfer from. Probably all of them. Yep, safe transfer from as well. Cool. Interesting.
Wait a second. Can you go back up to the transfer functions?
Where was that? That's here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the only thing he's changed is just adding on the modifier. Otherwise, he just calls the super transfer from.
He didn't override safe transfer.
Ooh. Exploit found, Will.
Unless it's lower.
I don't think it is. I mean, I would...
Ha! Decentralized no more!
Yeah, exploit. In the 721. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we just see what that looks like? In the OZ...
For me, I've been 721 and it knows that I want to go to OZ.
Safe transfer from... I don't...
Is there no safe transfer?
There's no transfer. It's only transfer from and safe transfer from, and then an overridden safe transfer from.
Oh man, I remember.
Oh, wrecked again, William.
My safe transfer.
Is that might be the 1155? Does that have a transfer?
I don't think so. Could be wrong though. Why am I remembering a safe transfer in 721? It's so weird. Okay, maybe it does. Maybe it does.
Yeah, so he's actually done well here. He's overridden or modified all of the functions you could use to transfer your NFT with only when tradable. So he's actually doing okay. You can't even approve if it's not tradable. Wow. I guess
You can't approve if it's not tradable?
Yeah, that seems pedantic.
Oh,
Because
safe transfer is an internal on Open Zeppelin. That's where I had it. Okay. But only on 721, not 1155.
Transfers.
Safe transfer does the checks, and then it passes it to transfer in the internals.
Safe transfer. I see. Nice. Interesting that that's just kind of all packaged into the transfer froms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Been seeing a lot of hate for 721s on Twitter recently.
I know, yeah. It's like the last half year of my life has been ERC 721 and 1155. Yeah. Some surprising names, though. Like, I think Nick Johnson even referred to it as a mistake. I'm like, I'd like to understand the hate a bit more. Like, I know Ross said that he didn't think that 165, the safe transfer, should have been a part of the core EIP. They should have been extensions on it. I'm actually really fond of EIP 165 at this point. I think it gives you kind of the easiest way to have an okay sign that a contract supports something or not. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Like, I'd be interested in digging into that more. Like, just where all the 721 hate comes from. I mean, like, as of right now, you've got permits on ERC 2612, and they're getting a bit more popular. People agree that they're a good idea and all of that. If you're building a front end or an app, wouldn't you want to be able to query a contract and see if it says it supports 2612? So you're right, a gremlin can put that they support 2612 when they don't, and it'll like break your front end, which makes you not able to use their token or something like that. Like, yay. But at the same time, like, wouldn't you want that there? I don't know. But yeah, that just me.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I don't have enough context on the NFT standards to have a nuanced discussion about it. But yeah, I think it'd be good for us to dig into it someday.
Oh, should I make an old, like a crypto old geezer comment? I probably should. Should I? Shouldn't I?
Do it. Do it.
In terms of the safe transfer function, also, what the safe transfer does is basically it checks that a receiving contract signals that it can support, say, receiving 721s or something like that. I think there is a bit of a hate for that check because it like makes contracts have to implement something. But you young'uns, if you had been around before the crypto winter in 2017, you'd all remember how many people lost millions of dollars sending their tokens to the wrong contract. And then they would get locked forever and everything. And I really do feel like 721 was a direct response to that. And
that's probably a good point.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, fine. So what do we have here? So we have a bunch of public setters, which is interesting also that they're public as opposed to external. So set metadata address, set tradability, set claimability.
I think the reasoning here is that he was throwing it together and he wasn't gas optimizing or anything.
I strongly suspect that you're correct. I definitely do not mean to snipe at him or anything like that. Yeah. So yeah, set max multiplier. Here we go. Insight. Public view returns UNT 256. This one I suspect also might even get used internally in the contract. So just as a friendly reminder, the difference between public and external is that public functions can be used by the contract itself. External ones cannot. This one, I wouldn't be surprised if it actually has to be public. So
yeah, I mean, here it's used right here.
Where that right here? Sorry, I need to get back to your tab. I've been looking on that.
Sorry.
There. Yeah. No, not a problem.
Used.
Yeah.
Below.
Got it. So UNT 256 last block equals insight map token ID dot last save block. If last block equals 0, Oh, which means that it's the first time it was minted. I get because when it's minted, the struct won't be initialized. I was like thinking, like, wow, how did they manage to mint this at Genesis? That would be cool. Like you have a fork chain and new Genesis with like a corruption or something. So if last block equals 0, return 0. Okay. Oh, because then you don't even need to come up. Wait, so what's that mean? That means that if it when I mint, I'm assuming the last block is 0. So that means I'm going to
Wait, where's
return
mint?
out. It's that one with like the crazy cap.
Yeah. In order to know Rome, have absolutely no promises, but I acknowledge and want to mint anyway.
Terms and conditions.
Yeah, he doesn't set, so it would be 0, I guess, because he doesn't set a last block at that point.
Yeah, it doesn't set a block there. I would have thought he would have also. It means that the first holder is always going to have an insight of 0.
Yeah, which every token starts off with an insight of 0 as soon as it's minted.
But how's it going to change? Because remember, you're returning out here even.
So then you have to call, I think, inside. Oh no, no. You. Good question. What?
Maybe it means the first holder always has 0.
Let me just look at this again. Mint.
Oh, there's save. No, there's save also though.
Yeah, but save is
so you could call
private,
save right off the bat. Oh, it's private. And it only happens on token transfer. It sounds like you need to transfer it once to like kind of get it rolling.
Does this transfer get called on the mint?
That's a good point. Oh, I bet you're right. There should be a before token transfer there. And then that means if last block equals 0, it hasn't been minted yet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because think about it.
So
there's no check here for exists, which he could have done also. I'm kind of surprised he didn't. As in, at least opens up when I don't think this is a part of the actual 721 standard, but opens up when exposes a function called exists. I think it's internal, actually. That tells you if it's been minted yet or not. So he could have thrown in an exists here, I think. Except that I can't remember how exists works off the top of my head. How does he know which token ID he's minting here?
Because there's no counter, hey. Yeah.
Oh, total supply. He uses total supply for it.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, he uses total supply. Since total supply starts at 1, so then the first minter has a total supply of 0, so then mint 0. Then there's a total supply of 1, so the next one's minting 1.
Okay. So the ID starts at 0 if you're plugging in an ID. ID 0 would be the first NFT. Okay, cool.
Yep. So this will just so he could have used exists, but he doesn't. So he's just so he's returning 0 because then that would mean it isn't minted. So then we get the delta. Then the uint 256 multiplier is the delta divided by 2000. If multiplier is greater than max multiplier. It's interesting you used an if for that. I probably would have used a ternary. I would have found it more readable. You know what I mean? Multiplier is bigger than max multiplier. Than max multiplier, else multiplier. Uint 256 total is insight maps saved XP plus delta times multiplier plus 1 divided by 10,000. DHoff also uses 10,000 then. So delta times multiplier plus 1. Why does he need the plus 1? So multiplier.
So the multiplier
delta
cap is 24. So this would the plus 1 takes it up to 25, which is nice and round. But I'm wondering, is it also because this could be 0? The multiplier can be 0.
Got it. So it doesn't want it zeroing out.
If you do it in the same block, then the delta becomes 0. The block number you're calling inside.
Good point.
Yeah. And then
it's interesting. There is this. yeah, there is that 8 thing going on in the lore also. And the max multiplier being 24 is a multiple of 8. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, though.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, so then we can take the total. So again, total map, saved XP plus delta times multiplier plus 1 divided by 10,000, which means that before by the multiplier, he's dividing by 200,000. So, like, so to speak, that's like divided by 200. So it's the delta divided by 200. Yeah, that makes it a lot easier. It doesn't have to be the same block for the delta to be 0. If you're anywhere within the first 200 blocks, it should be 0 after you mint. No?
Yeah. Isn't... I mean, here, we're getting the last... the current
Oh, wait,
block.
no. Do you have to
rolling
wait
list.
200,000 actually? Wait a
Yeah,
second.
that's what I'm thinking.
You have
That's
to wait
like seems like a
200,000
huge amount
blocks.
of time.
I don't think it's as long as you think it does. Give me a second. I'll try and do it. It might be a month or two, but I don't think it's... I seem to have stuck in my mind that 1 month is about 190,000, actually. I think it's about 1 month. Let me try and figure this out for a second, though. We've got 13.5 seconds times 200. I can count zeros. Really, I can. Okay, fine. There we go. So that's that. Now divide that by 60, and we'll get minutes. Divide that by 60 again, and we'll get hours. About 750 hours. So if you divide that by 24, so yeah, it's about a month.
Okay, so every month...
5-second blocks.
Sorry?
15.5-second blocks. That like gets into difficulty and stuff about how long.
Okay, so every month, essentially, your multiplier goes up by 1. Every month that you don't move the thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so 2 years gets you your max multiplier. Holding it for 2 years.
Right. Oh, wait, no. So wait a second, though. That's just, yeah, that's for the multiplier. Multiplier will go up by 1. You start off with a multiplier of 1, so that's just identity. You just get the delta divided by 10,000, which means that you do have to hold for 10,000 blocks to get any XP. Yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
So, but 10,000 blocks isn't that long. I mean, compared to 200,000. So...
No, wait, you do have to... oh, right, sorry. Yeah.
Just to get additional XP, I'm saying. You're right, it won't be much.
Yeah.
And then if you get that month, so then you get that multiplier there. All right, and then you return total. Okay, cool. So yeah, save just saves your XP. And then last save block is block number, token URI, require metadata address address 0. Require token ID is less than total supply. So that's just basically mimicking exists. Return iCorruption's metadata address.token URI, token ID insight. Okay, cool. And that way he can port it off to a different contract, even though that does mean that there's an external call there, which is interesting. Okay, cool. So yeah, transfer from, and all of these, it looks like they're overridden just to make sure that he can put on the only one tradable. That's pretty straightforward. Approve, so approval for all, same story. Wants to make sure he can lock those down before token transfer. And this is where that little magic happens, as in this is what makes it so that each one, like, you know, sorry, brain freeze, that he has that whole XP calculation happen anytime that it's transferred just by digging into that hook right there.
Yeah. And so based on this math, I think they are right where you're always gaining XP. And it's just the longer you hold, that's the faster you gain XP. So it does like sort of like on this exponential curve of like acceleration. Is that what you're getting here, Will?
Sorry, can you say that again?
So you always are gaining positive XP. You never lose XP, I think.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the speed.
But you're
yeah. Yeah, the rate at which you gain XP is dependent on how long you've held it. So it goes up on this exponential curve. Like the longer you hold, more and more XP you gain per day.
Yeah, it's about rate. In other words, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. That's pretty much it. Oh, the only thing I was going to ask you here is this before token transfer? Is this a standard thing in Open Zeppelin?
Yeah, it is. Basically, what Open Zeppelin does is they have a hook there where they check a few different things just to make sure that like it's going to the right address and like it isn't going to the 0 address if it's not a min, and like, you know, things like that.
There we go. Yes. Interesting. I mean, in the Open Zeppelin thing, there is no logic in the function.
Right, it's because of their whole hook system. I'll admit, I've gotten I've gotten a bit lost on like the whole thing with hooks, but yeah.
I see. Sweet. That's pretty cool that you can just slap in that.
I'm still like, I know that there's more to dig into here, and I'm still like trying to find it.
Where I would look next is like what this even renders and how the rendering is affected.
Oh yeah, you want to dive into the metadata quick? Let's do it.
Sure. Where's that contract? Here we go. All right. Well, what's the important stuff? Okay, we've got rand parts, border corruptor phrase. Description. Draw circle.
I finally found the thread, by the way. Oh my gosh. Okay, it took me till now, but I'll throw it in. Throw it in chat.
Oh, this is so cool. He's got an algorithm for drawing a circle in Solidity. I'm keen. Let's read this. Bressenham's circle drawing algorithm.
Sorry, just give me 1 second. I'm going AFK for a sec. Be right back.
All right. Yeah, so I'm just digging into this Bressenham's drawing a circle algorithm while Will's out. This is like an approximate way to render a circle. I'm going to drop this into chat.
I'm back.
Sweet. I was just telling chat that he's using this Bressenham's algorithm to approximate drawing a circle.
It looks like math.
It does look like math.
256. R is coming in in 8. You cast it to 2. 3 minus 2 times R circle. So it's an internal function for that. And a wall loop. Wow. I hope he's only calling that in view.
Yeah, I don't think this is called anywhere other than view.
That's really cool, though. Very cool. Let's see here.
Random strings. Okay, so you've got these weird ass characters.
Right, you can see those in that image before, also, though.
Yeah. Some colors. And then the cool, like, lorry words.
Yeah. Corruptor. And there he puts in the insight. You can see they're on line 195, like the bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah. Is there any? Do we have a website that renders one of these?
OpenSea.
See what it looks like. True.
Say what you want about them, but the fact that they're like the first thought when things like this come up is still means that, you know, they are what they are. It's probably Maybe
Is it
not.
wrong directions?
That's
Oh, wait, hang
super
on.
strange. No, something's wrong.
Just search it.
Maybe put in
Oh, there we
D-hop.
go. There we go. There we go.
Oh, it is it.
No, it's corruption and then like brackets S.
Yeah, yeah, it was, yeah.
Man, some of these are very cool. How come it's got a whole flower thing going on? What's that?
So there is something with the whole flower thing. I think that the thread that I dropped in chat, I think actually talks about that a bit. Oh right, here we go. The message board. There's one of these like funny online like on-chain chat things with this, if I remember right. Let me just make sure I have the right thing here. Render stats messages. Here we are. Yeah, here we go. Here's the message app. So like there's this whole thing where they were like trying to communicate with the contract and like sending pictures back and forth. And I think like the first one that they sent was a rose. And then some of the NFTs turned into roses based off of the same image or something like that. Oh right, yeah, that's it. Like if you go all the way down to the bottom, so I think the way they realized that maybe there was something about talking with the contract itself was because it itself tweeted out a message first. This is the visible hand. And then they like started having a conversation with the contract, which I think means Dom. But I think that's also kind of like the kind of performance art end of it. But yeah, I don't totally remember.
That's so cool.
One of these things that's really interesting, like we're already bordering on an hour, we could go a few minutes over time, but like something that is very interesting to me and I think really hasn't been discovered yet is Dom, of course, is in the crypto space. Outside the crypto space, Dom is famous for Vine, I think. But in the Twitter space, he's famous for what's it called? For Loot. And Loot itself, of course, spawned Rarity and all of that. And this whole idea of creating a kind of MMORPG on the blockchain, or like, you know, a virtual fantasy world on the blockchain. It's very interesting because I don't necessarily see those two naturally intersecting, but I keep on being proven wrong about that. You know what I mean? Like, it seems
Yeah.
like there really is something there. I think everybody looks at DeFi and feels like it's kind of a game. And sometimes single player, sometimes kind of PvP. But things like this also make me wonder if we're seeing kind of the primitives of something like that, like something bigger. Like you see so much collaboration on this, like so much community that just like sprung up around this. And it's working also. You know, it's one thing for a community of apes to like ape into something and then like when roadmap, whatever. Um, to answer chat, I totally understand what you're saying. QRB1337 or Leet says, "Isn't this Windows 95 aesthetic overdone now?" If you mean the actual Netlify app, I don't know what to tell you about that. Maybe it's matching the vibe of the SVGs. For the SVGs themselves, though, I haven't dug enough into the on-chain SVG rendering yet. There have been smoother on-chain SVGs that were generative. I'm wondering if to have this many ideas inside an SVG, I don't know how finely you're going to render it. Something that I did discover is that there is actually a theoretical gas limit on view functions. Did you know that?
I did not
That's
know
a
that.
bit of a contradiction, no? Because you're not spending gas on a view function if you're only read-only. But I believe, I don't know if this is actually in spec or not, but if I recall correctly, I remember reading that most clients enforce a gas block limit on a view function. So it can't be that if it was spending gas, it would spend more gas than you can fit in a block. Which makes sense also because otherwise you kind of have a DDoS vector against nodes. You could just hit like really, really beefy view functions like all day long and kind of DDoS them.
Yeah, but you would pay gas for that, wouldn't you?
Not if you're just doing read only.
Yeah. Oh, right. If you're just reading it from externally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I like in terms of the actual SVGs themselves, I don't know how much better they can get. And that's an ignorance I don't know because I literally just don't know. Maybe they could get super better, beats me. I mean, take a look at Pack's work. Uh, but I think that's kind of where some of it comes from. I think some of it might also just be an early days vibe, like that feeling of we're still really early. And like it kind of harkens back to like that Windows 95 vibe. I don't know.
I mean, I appreciate at least the SVG aesthetic. I don't know about the whole Windows 95 thing. I know Curve has that going as well. It's a bit.
ETH Global, yeah.
I wouldn't mind sometimes more intuitive like UI here, but like as far as the SVGs go, I enjoy this. This is like, did you see? I found a castle here. I hadn't seen this before in this
Yeah,
on OpenSea. This is really cool. They got a flag.
bit of it.
It's so cool, man.
Yeah. I wonder if it's a
Speaking of,
Tolkien reference. The two towers.
I mean, it just looked like a castle to me. I don't know, dog. But
Didn't look like two towers, do man?
let's see. I mean, like it's like the front of the castle with the little opening.
Oh, I couldn't see the background over there. You're right. I only saw like the
Yeah.
two big ramparts right there. Those two towers. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Um,
Have you dug into Blipmap at all, actually?
no.
I
What's
really have
that?
not dug into Blipmap yet. So that is actually the project that Dom says he's like this. He says is the kind of thing he throws together on a weekend and doesn't know anything about, which is why it sells for gazillions of dollars. But the actual project that he's really building is called Blipmap. Nobody knows about it, which is just kind of funny. But yeah, maybe we'll have to look into that a different time. Next time we
Yeah.
get stood up. Yeah. Speaking of that, though, it looks like we will be doing an episode next Tuesday for us, next Monday evening for PST, and Transmissions and Jet should be there, and we'll keep the party going on the Rari vaults. So yeah, that is, I think, probably pretty good for us. Yeah. What do you say? We wrap it up
Yeah.
here.
I already
Awesome.
wrapped up here.
Well, thanks everybody for joining. Huge thanks to chat just for everything, for the questions, for setting us straight when we don't know what we're doing and all that. And yeah, be looking forward to seeing you get schooled by a bunch of teenagers next week. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Thank you, chat. We appreciate you, chat.
Hey.